Hello everybody. Well, it's me, Manny with Manifest. I know it's been a long while that I made my own video. Spent 90% of my internet time over at the Small Hats, and obviously, if you're not following them, please like and subscribe for all your quality One Piece stuff. Because until now, until April 21st, I'm hard into Star Wars right now. There's a 5K that's coming up, and this game recently came out. And at first, I just wanted to play it because I was like, "Oh man, Star Wars! Sure, I'll play some Star Wars. I'll give it a shot." And then I played it, and I realized that this game has some good bones on it. A lot of the wording on the cards, until you get used to which cards are just how they're ruled, are the wording's a bit bad, but the game is phenomenal. This is the closest you can get to like chess and a card game at the same time. Because for people who don't know how this game works, it's that you and your opponent share a turn. So there's not my turn, your turn. It's our turn. But every time I get to play a card in action, every time I do an action, you can then respond with an action. We go back and forth until, because we both have a base, which is indicated like here, and that's the life of the base. And whoever reaches zero first loses. Now, that's the soft example of the game for my people who don't know. Now, if you're here, this is not my tutorial video. This is kind of like an update of what I'm playing, what are my thoughts of the game, and then maybe I'll do a tutorial video if there's enough likes into this. But as of right now, this is just me sharing my thoughts of the meta, what I'm bringing to the meta, and pretty much my journey for the 5K. So with that said, this is my list. It's the Boba Fett leader, which is his leader effect. It's whenever an enemy unit leaves the field, you could tap him to generate one resource. I use energy conversion lab because essentially this is kind of like a kill spell, essentially, because by giving any of your guys ambush, you which ambush in this game is like haste, you can go ahead and just counteract whatever your opponent's going after. Boba is in this format considered the best deck. I will say this is very close to what my One Piece people would follow with, is like Law, because Law was a very high ceiling deck. Boba is another very high ceiling deck, and if you misplay with your plays, you get punished. It's the best deck, but you cannot misplay because a lot of your pieces require other pieces to go off. All right. Then we have our one drop Greedo. When he dies, you mill the top card. If it's an event, deal 2 damage to a ground unit. He's a 3/1. He just helps put pressure on the board, early pressure to apply. Shoot first. For my magic people, this is like first strike. It lets your unit attack after you play this card, and you give it +1, and then it has first strike, where that it hits the enemy first before the enemy could hit back. Because in this game, when 2 units attack, they both share the damage they do to each other. So this is like a first strike, which lets you hit them before they get to hit you. All right. I'll make the Cardinal Spacer. This card, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to cut this card. I really do. I understand why, because it's a combo piece for when you play Vader, but it's just not my cup of tea. And then you also have to have another cunning character, which a lot of our units are cunning, but it's like there's so many things that need to happen for this to go off right. Otherwise, it's just a 2/2/3 ship. On my next is the Crafty Smuggler. He is shield, pretty much a status where that if someone has a shield, any amount of damage that hits them, as long as it's the first damage, is canceled out. So if it's 1 damage, it pops the shield. If it's 20 damage, it pops the shield. And they don't take any of it, but it's only the first instance of damage. The Outer Rim on my Headhunter, it has raid 1, which means on attack +1, like it says there. And on attack, if I control my leader, I could arrest an enemy unit. This card is fairly good. It's more of like a control piece than it is like a hitting unit. A surprise attack is essentially just +3 attack on something. So like if you're trying to hit big with something, or you're trying to hit big the base, this is just a really good card. The DJ is what the Star Wars community is calling this. Ramps when he dies, which is a good interaction with this card, So the good interaction is like, let's say your opponent played anything that has like 2 health, like this, or you know, like something that this can run into. You can go, use ability, play this, play him. He hastes, goes, kills the 2 health thing. He dies, becomes ramp. So you paid 1, you paid 2. You paid 2 resource to then just kill something and generate a resource. The Star Viper, when you have the initiative, which is a whole concept of this game. For my people who don't play this game, this is what you need to understand. Star Wars has this thing called the initiative, where because it's our turn and we take our turns kind of simultaneously, whoever has the initiative gets to make the first action. And you would assume, hey, like, it's just the first action. If we're doing our turns together, what's the difference? No. Taking the initiative sometimes is the equivalent of saying checkmate to your opponent. Because sometimes you may have the out and you only have 2 health left, but you have the card that wipes the board, right? But it doesn't matter because they have the initiative, and whatever they do has to resolve. So if they have a 2 attack dude and you have 2 health, even though you have the dark hole, the be prepared, the damnation, whatever equivalent of destruction of board wipe card in whatever card game you play, it doesn't matter. They get to hit you first, and then you lose. So the initiative control is another huge part of the game, which I'll make a video about initiative control, how to properly control the initiative, and how to map out initiative, because that was a whole learning curve that I wish there was a video about, which I am going to make. So please follow along, like, subscribe, because I will make that for my Star Wars people, how to manipulate the initiative and how to control the initiative in your favor. But this guy, as long as you have it, you get to heal too, which healing is a big deal. One of the 3 meta decks is huge because it heals a lot. So anything that can heal is just naturally good. Resupply is just another ramp resource because we play green. Green's the only color that has ramp. So it's just something to help us get to our bigger guys, to proceed the game faster, to try and play keep up with another one of the meta decks. Now, Boba, our guy right here, on attack, when he's attacking a character that's rested, as long as it wasn't played this turn, he deals 3 damage to it first. So he kind of does 3 damage first before he hits it. So anything that's 6 or less, he can go ahead and kill off the spot. Or let's say it's just a character that has 3, he can swing into it and kill them for free, essentially. This is just another ship with shield. It's the same premise as the Crafty Smuggler. These are just dudes that have shields, so it helps protect them. They're a bit more durable. Waylay, this just bounces any non-leader unit back to the hand. This is just a tempo piece. So like if they drop a big guy, you could bounce it back and be like, all right, cool. You paid 5 and I'll pay 3, or they paid 8 and I'll pay 3, you know, and just deal with it. Now this is my spicy tech. So a lot of lists play the Steadfast Battalion. I think that card's dog doo-doo water. This card, the gunship, one, it's a really good control piece because it's the only ship in the game, it's the only unit in the game that can actually attack both lanes. And for my people who don't know Star Wars, in Star Wars, there's the ground arena and the space arena. And ground arenas can either attack other ground units or the base, and units in the space arena can either attack units in the space arena or the base. So it's like there's 2 lanes of attack. But this is the only card in the game that could go after another arena. And when it does, it minuses 2 attack on that one. So it helps you pick off ground units. And most ground units usually have like kind of low health for the most part. Because they're people. And people don't have armor. So that's kind of the thing. But it helps control those, but then also go after the base. And it's just a decent status space unit that can happily go after the ground. I think this card is stupid good. And people that don't play it do not appreciate how strong this card is. The next card is Rook. Now, I have to give a shout out to my friend Cole, because he gave me the idea for this. So, how it works is that, well, so anytime he does damage, as long as it's to a non-leader character, it dies anyway. So even if he does like 1 damage to it, or, well, he has 3 attack, but he does any amount of damage to it and it lives, it still dies anyways. But because you have this becomes a kill spell. this becomes whatever I hit dies, and he has shield, so that means whatever he runs into is not going to damage him. So let's say my opponent had like a reinforcement walker, I could play him, use this on this, run into this, he doesn't take any damage, I damage this died. My 5 cost guy killed an 8 cost unit, and he didn't take any damage. So because of that interaction, it's just a really strong card. Because fighting for the ground is a big deal. So I just really like him a lot. The next card is essentially our board wipe in this deck because we don't have a real board wipe. Blue in this game has all the hard removal cards for the most part. But this one says, I'm going to give a friendly unit +2/+2 for the phase, which essentially is the turn. Then deal damage equal to its power divided across the across any of the units. So like let's say hypothetically, I have my Boba Fett on the board, right? And I overwhelming barrage on him. What happens is he becomes a 5/7, but I get to do 5 damage spread across the board. So I could do like 1 to 1, 3 to this, and 2 to that, and then I killed 3 units. Well, my bad, math is mathing. Like 1 here, 2 here, 1 here. I killed 3 units, you know, what have you. And that's like the only true kind of hard removal this deck has, unfortunately. Because yeah, I could bounce something back, but I didn't remove it. They could just play next turn. I just threw them off tempo. Now we play 1 copy of Treacherous. For my guys out there that play Yu-Gi-Oh, this is Snatch Steal. That's exactly what this card is. You play it, you target an opponent's character that costs 3 or non-leader character that costs 3 or less, or unit, and you take it. I mean, you take it in whatever position that it's in. A small interaction that I like with this card involving this card. So the interaction with this card is so my opponent plays this, and I Treacherous take it. And then even if I cause it to die, so the trigger of when defeated happens before they go to grave. So even though this belongs to my opponent, I could trigger the when defeated and it will ramp to me, and I get to ready as a resource. So what they were going to use as a tempo piece to ramp them now has become my tempo piece as ramp. And then this also helps against like decks that play Star Viper. With Star Viper, you can go ahead and take it, and then you can start using it to heal. You could also take other people's Bobas in the mirror match. Like, this card is just very good. You don't want to play too much of it because it is a 5-drop that that requires your opponent to be playing something that can fit in this. So this is just something where it's like, it's good to have. But obviously you don't want to have too many copies of it because you're paying a lot to take a 3. You're just trying to throw them off tempo. The next one is Bosk. Bosk is great. I love this man. I did not appreciate this guy when I was first playing this deck. Like, oh, I was going through learning curve, and I was like, man, I never want to play this guy. Then I was like, you know what? Let me just forget all these other guys. And let me focus playing on this guy. This guy's bonkers. Because anytime you play an event, you get to deal 2 damage or something. There's so many cool battle tricks you could do with this and first shot or this and surprise attack, where you can start killing big things for like the dirt cheap. Also, he has ambush, so he just helps you clear things fairly well. He's very good statted. He's just a good guy. Fitz Fire Spray. This is just a fantastic card because it comes in ready. Because in this game, there's summoning sickness. Like, everything comes in tapped, so they can't swing. This says, as long as I play Boba, which, guess what we're doing? Playing Boba. It comes in ready, so it can swing for 5. And then it has an action where it's not once per turn, where you just pay 2 to exhaust like non-unique units. So, like, you use this to help slow down the tempo. Like, let's say you have the initiative. Instead of swinging first, you go pay 2, rest something. So you soften the cushion of damage being done to you. Now are the big now that's kind of a big boy. These are our big boys. This is why we even play the green package to begin with. The first one we play is Dark Vader. He has ambush, which is kind of like pseudo rush, which just means you can attack characters. You can't go after the base, but you can go after characters. And then he lets you look at top 10, and you can play any number of of villainy units. That their combined cost is 3. So we could play like this, the Boba, I'll make the 7th Fleet Defender, a Super Technician, like we could play those cards. But he's just a really big body that brings out another body. I'm still tweaking this list. I kind of want to put in the cell block guard, but we'll see where things go. And then there's the reinforcement walker. On play and when attacking, you can look at top card of your deck. If you want to draw it, you can draw it. If you want to discard it, you heal 3. Like I said, healing is very strong in this game, especially against the aggro decks, because like they're just trying to kill you. But if you could prolong the game to late game, they just lose. So that's kind of my deck, my thought processes on some of the cards, and a quick skim. Cards that are honorably mentioned. I still have to make a side deck. I'm still working on my side deck for the 5K. But I didn't want to advertise my side deck as of right now because, one, it's a side deck. It's meant to be kind of secretive, hush hush. But I'll go ahead and share some ideas for good side deck cards. So, for good side deck cards, where is it? Where's the biggest boy? Is playing the Relentless. So Relentless is essentially the first event that both me and my opponent play for the first turn loses all their abilities. The reason why this card matters is because this is the only kind of out to this card, which is the Super Laser Blast, which is destroy everything. If it destroys everything, you kind of lose your tempo and you're like, well, what am I supposed to do now? The Relentless kind of helps against that because the thing is, this costs 8, and in this game, being at higher numbers than 9 for your resource, by the time you get to 9 resource, the game is very close to done. The thing is that it's really hard to pay like a little cheap spell, like Power of the Dark Side, for example. It costs 3, and then to play that. That's very hard. So this might as well say no one gets to play events anymore. But the thing is, because with Cunning, I'm not sure if you noticed when we were going through all the events in Cunning are very cheap. So I don't mind losing an event to do another event. But for the blue deck, it's too much. It's too much for them to play this and then try to deal with this. All right. So that's one of the really good cards, but that's when you play against blue. I am thinking about playing. Where is it? He's down here. About playing the cell block guard. In the main. For the fact that one, he's a unit that Vader can bring out, but also has Sentinel. And as you see, Sentinel says units in this arena cannot attack anything besides a Sentinel unit. So essentially, it's a unit that has taunt for my Hearthstone fans. So it's essentially just they have to kill this first before they can go for my base, and that's just a really good piece because Vader will come out, kill something, bring this out to then defend me in that arena. Which like I said, I'm thinking about putting it in. It's just a really good static unit. Another thing I am also contemplating putting in is this asteroid asteroid sanctuary. It's just a kind of good like tempo piece that also generates advantage, gives me a shield to go after something. But it's just I don't know. The thing is that like with blue has hard removal. Like this is good against red, but I'm not sure if it's worth using a side deck slot for. I'm also considering this card because you can start taking like really oppressive pieces that your opponent has on the board, take it, go after them, or take it and have them go into their other unit so that it dies. So this is essentially like kind of like this could either be a removal spell or it could be like a game-ending play where you're like, oh, I need an extra body, give me that guy. So I'm thinking about playing this. I'm still back and forth about it, but we'll see how it goes. Part of me thinks this is better than Treacherous, because even though Treacherous lets me keep the unit, this has no limitations. So we'll see. Like, I don't know. We'll see how things go. Because it's for one more, I get to hit anything, right? So we'll just take that as it is. But like I said, so we talked about this card, how I think this card is ridiculously broken. This is the card that it full out replaced. And then we're going to talk about why people like this card. So The thing is with this card, with Steadfast Battalion, this unit, when you play, it's just a 5/5/5 with Overwhelm, which is trample. It does piercing damage. But then you have to have your leader and then it attack. I don't know. I just feel like this card gets blown out every single time I've ever played it. Maybe I misplay it, but every time I play it, it gets blown out. And it's like, why would I rather do that? And then like once it's there, it just has to be kind of dealt with. The control deck has a bunch of sentinels, which this has to break through. And yes, it has piercing, but then like the sentinels just kill it. I don't know. It might come back. It might stay gone. I feel this is too slow. Anything that says on attack, I feel is too slow. And it doesn't have good enough stats to contemplate it. Like for example, the Boba, this is the 3/3/5. This is already overstated, and he has an on attack. That's why it's like, yeah, like this isn't bad because he's overstated. This is just what he should be. It's just a 5/5/5. He just should be that. And cool, he has effects, but he just gets bodied by 90% of the game. Like for example, if you're playing against Vader, which I've seen it a bunch, they play this. By the time you play this, Vader's now on 7. Because they ramped up already. Then they're going to bring out Vader, equip him with the lightsaber, kill this guy, and it's over. Like damn, all right, then you got it. Or by the time you play that, they just drop Palpatine and pop him, and it's like, well, all right then. Or they just freaking, where is it? They just do force choke, and it's like, cool. Like, you spent 5 on this, and they kill it with force choke. They just kill it with force choke. They just go, all right, deal 5. Yeah, you draw a card, but there we go. Killed it. I would spend 2 to kill one of your things that you spent 5 on, and you can have a card. I don't care. Oh my god. And the fact that this can even be 1, because as long as you have a force character, which could be the leader if you have the leader out already. It's just, he's just so easily punished. So I'd rather have a character that is in space, because space in this game, yes, people play spaceships, but it's not a very strong line. So if I have an extra unit that I could go the space route to go after, I think it's. But yeah, I am also going to plan to do a tier list with with all the leaders. A tier list from me. I'm definitely working on that. I will say I have been working on. I've been playing this game now since a month before it came out till now, and I'm fairly confident with my skills. I've spoke with a couple of judges, got ruling questions answered, so I'm fairly confident with my playing and where I think these leaders stand. I've also been following the European circuit for a minute to see how things are going over there. But I definitely want to bring more notoriety to the US, because apparently there's not a lot of people in the US side that are talking about this game. But I will say, please follow along. I'm still going to be over with the small hats. To do One Piece. I'm like, funny enough, if you were part of the Discord, you know I already went undefeated 1K at a 1K with Utsa. I'm kind of just slowing down from set 6, because in set 7 is when we get Dolphy support, and that's why I'm going to jump back in the game. I may jump back in the game during EB1 to play Red Purple Law, but that's kind of in the air as of right now. But as of right now, I'm really focused on the Star Wars, because I got to get ready for this 5K, and I'm super excited for it, and you guys will be along for the journey. So please like and subscribe. Also like and subscribe to the small hats. And from here to there, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.